Hey guys, boys and girls, and everybody else that's tuning in right now. This is the Buck With Me show. My name is Buck Wheat, and this gentleman that I have next to me right now, listen, when they say to give people their flowers while they're still alive, this is what we're doing in this segment right here, because this show right now would not be happening if it wasn't for Angel. So first of all, Angel, thank you very much. He's the owner of this beautiful establishment. Some of you guys have already been here already to record your music. There's been performance here. I mean, Angel has done what he's doing now, Benton Media Lounge. He has the music conference that you did back in the day. You had a label. You had your record store. You also did like the seminars back in the day. You had meet and greets. Shit, what else did you do?
First of all, he called me a gentleman. I got to get past that. But, just a little bit of everything. It's always, right. Everything that we've always done has been thinking of the independent artist with the independent artist in mind and kind of pushing that forward, being a champion for the independent artist. So I think you pretty much caught almost all of it.
Right.
In the description. So you did your homework.
So did you ever pass out flyers?
Yes.
Okay, yes. You got to add that too.
Yes,
we
passed out flyers for events, for promoting nights. Yeah, passed out flyers hand in hand. Used to go up to the nightclubs to give the DJs their records. So they'd be like, hey, I need this new record. All right, 2 o'clock in the morning, let me go to E-Word to hand somebody a record. It was really just an excuse to get out the house, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, just about everything.
How long have you been doing this?
Shit. It started with DJing in the mid-90s somewhere. House parties and stuff like that. So going to the record store was like my happy place. And then someday I got the crazy idea of just having my own record store.
Right.
I'm like, if that's my happy place, then just let me build my own happy place. And that's kind of how it all started.
So
that was in 2001 when the record store was started.
Okay, so the record store started in 2001. Mm-hmm. It's interesting because when I met you, I moved here in 98. I was on the street team for a while, 98.7. I was about to say, 94.1, but 98.7. You were servicing a lot of DJs that was on our mix show at that time.
Yes.
We can literally say R.I.P. to DJ Trauma.
R.I.P. DJ Trauma.
Probably one of your biggest customers.
Yes. Definitely one of the most influential.
Right.
So when we opened the record store, we didn't really know a lot of people in the community, right? Mm-hmm. Like I like DJing. I DJed in my bedroom. I did like weddings and stuff like that, but we didn't know the community, the local Tampa community, right? I knew like a couple people, knew of a few people, but there's a few times in our timeline where that made an impact in our business, and DJ Trauma and DJ Coz coming to our record store was one of those moments where it jumped, solely because they said on air that they got their records from us.
Right.
That made all the difference in the world.
And that's crazy. That's just how the impact was for radio.
Yeah.
For your record store.
Yeah.
In 2001.
Yes.
And I'm sure there was other record stores at that time.
Yeah, but it's all about relationships, right?
Right.
It's all about relationships. So I'm trying to not go too deep into this story, but there was another record store called Galaxy Records. And every DJ in Tampa knows Galaxy Records. Like, that was the mecca, mm-hmm. right? So Galaxy Records closes, and like it breaks all of our hearts. I used to shop at Galaxy Records. So I went to go talk to the owner, Yolanda. Said, hey, I know you're closing. I have this record store. Can I buy some of your bins? Because I needed bins and whatnot. I also wanted to see if I could buy her records, but she's like, nah, I'm keeping those. She ended up selling them online. But two things happened. One, so I told Yolanda, this is where my record store is at, and she did me a huge favor and started telling her clients to come see me because she's closing.
Right.
So she's like, oh yeah, there's this other store. Here's their business card. And Coz was one of those customers. So DJ Coz at that point had made a breakbeat record, and he came to me to try to get me to sell his record at my store. And I'm like, yeah, of course. Again, I didn't know anyone. And I had a really dope old school section. Like it was dope, and it was cheap, dollar records and stuff like that, right? So Coz pretty much, who was doing the old school lunch jam at that time, raped my old school section. He just like, this is all mine. And the very next day, everything he played in the old school jam was stuff that he got from me.
Right.
And he said it. towards the end. He's like, every record I play today, I got at Benton Records, and he gave our address away. So he tells Trauma. Trauma comes, and we have this relationship to where, yeah, there was other record stores around, but seriously, there was no other record store that was going to the club to drop off the new thing that was hot that they wanted to drop that night, because I just got it. I was able to go to the station and give Coz the new whatever songs because, you know, he wanted to play those. And he's like, he knew I got them. So he's like, hey, you got this new song? Yeah, bro, bring it through. You know, there's particular records he liked. So, like, they were like tools that DJs use, you know, and I would get those. He liked them. I bring them to the station. So being at the station, got to meet you, I got to meet Orlando, got to meet some of the other people. And it was just that. It was just building those relationships, making it personal. And I think that's why the other record stores didn't get shouted out, which didn't make them happy. Well, fuck them.
At this point, it is what it is.
Yeah. Shout out to Hot Wax.
It's funny that you say that because I remember being on the street team and doing the Wild Bunch at nighttime. We was like, Big Mama or Greg at that point in time, like, yeah, we got to go to the streets and go somewhere. Yeah. And I remember myself suggesting along with every once in a while, like, yo, let's just go to the record store because, one, it was a location that everybody knew. Right. Two, the parking lot was big. Yes. Three, we turned it down into a block party. Yes. You know, it did turn into a vibe. So I appreciate you for letting us come and hang out.
But that was win-win, right?
Yes, it was always
that was win-win because I've always said that perception is reality. Yes. And the way people perceive things, it's their reality. You guys come in, the street team come in to do, you guys were giving away stuff and whatnot. On the radio, hey, we're over at Benton Records, then give out the address. It made us look huge. Yeah. Right? Because when else did you do that? You do that at like the car lots or like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Usually people paid a lot of money. Companies paid a lot of money to have you come shout their business out at their location. And you needed a place to go. We're like, well, just go there. It made us look huge. Right. Right. And then other things happen as a result of that. Let's remember that in that time, the artists that were trying to get to the next level were doing tours. Yeah. Media tours. Yeah. Right? They'd come to Wild, and Wild would be like, yeah, no, we're going over to the record store. And now we get on some type of list to where every single time those guys are coming through, they go to Wild, and they come to Benton. I'd buy Little Caesars pizza for everybody. Yep. And it's a party, and it made us look bigger than life, right? Because you have Little John, you have Big Boy, you have 3 6 Mafia, you have all of these well-known artists coming to the little-ass record store. And it was as a result of the relationship that I established with the radio station.
If I remember correctly, did 8 Ball, MJG, and them come there too? Mm-hmm. And then I think all of us ended up building a relationship with Bubba Sparks. Yes. Yes. So it's crazy to hear you say those names that were in Tampa, and people don't realize, like, a lot of their career, their music started in Tampa.
Oh, yeah. A lot of music got broke in Tampa. A lot of music came through, and they would come through, meet all the DJs. Yep. Pass out their vinyl, establish the relationships, do the drops for the mixtapes. Mm-hmm. All of that happened at that little ass record store.
That's crazy.
Yeah, a lot of business got done. I wish I would have known better.
How long did you have your record store for?
2001 to 2009. So 7-8 years, give or take.
About 8. Let's just say 9, give or take. Yeah. And the decision to close it was because record sales wasn't doing as much as it was, and it's crazy that people are buying records now.
Yeah. You know, I had no business opening a record store because I didn't know I didn't know anything about anything, right? But I try to be very logical, right? And I said I can't compete with, you know, Walmart and Best Buy and like some of these big stores. I just can't because it takes a lot of money to buy all those CDs. The markup on those CDs was not a lot. You know what I mean? Like they'd sell them for, I don't know, Walmart was selling them for $10 and wholesale cost was $10. Yes. So it was impossible. So I was like, okay, I really want to do this. So I figured DJs always need records. Every week they got to buy whatever's new. So I figured this focus on selling records to the DJs, and that way you have consistent buyers, right, that actually need it. Because somebody might go buy an album when it comes out, when, you know, every once in a while. But right. DJs are buying music, if not every week, at the very least every month. So that's why the decision to sell vinyl to DJs. When Final Scratch and Serato came out, it removed the need for the vinyl. So it was literally like somebody just turned the faucet off. Like it just stopped.
Damn.
I know.
Oh, but the crazy part for you to stop doing that has led you to where you're at right now. Actually, I'm saying you're the only person who actually did the first music conference here in Tampa.
Yeah.
And what year was that?
That was 2004 that we did the first Tampa Music Conference. And that was a result of, so there was a lot of conferences, especially like in Florida, right? Like,
Right.
Like, TJ had his, and then there was the one in Orlando. What's his name? Big Dog? No. I can't remember. But anyway, there was conferences happening all over.
Yeah.
And we were all on TampaHipHop.com, right? That was like the message board that we would all go and communicate with. And there was always a talk. They were going to do one, someone else was going to do one. And I distinctively remember sitting there thinking, this is so dumb. Like, why don't you just do it? So the record store at that point was on Hillsborough Avenue. And right across the street was the Event Factory. And I had a previous relationship with them because I used to DJ their weddings. So I knew them personally. I literally crossed the street, crossed Hillsborough Avenue, risked my life for the city. Because Hillsborough Avenue ain't nothing to play with.
No, it ain't.
I didn't even go to the crosswalk. Like I jaywalked, ran across the street, and I asked them, I'm like, hey, how much would you charge me to rent the whole place like on a Thursday, like on a weird night? And they gave me a stupid low price. They said $600. I know. I just said that in public in front of everybody.
God, are you serious?
No one's ever known that.
That was $600 back then?
Yeah, and you know how beautiful and big that place is, right?
Yes, I know. Go ahead.
But let's go back to perception, right? How did that make us look? Bigger than life. Right. So I'm like, okay, cool, I could do that. Pick a day. Pick the date. Walked right across the street, jumped on TampaHipHop.com and said, the first annual Tampa Music Conference, this such date, this is the location, more info coming soon. And everybody was like, yes. And then after that, it was just asking people like, you want to be on a panel? Everyone wanted to be on a panel. It was easy. It was madness the day of, but it just needed to be done.
Right.
It needed to be done. There were so many artists that would come to the store that just didn't know how to get a barcode, didn't know about BMI or ASCAP, didn't know the beginning of like how to, none. And I wasn't claiming that I didn't know either, right?
Right.
So, but the need for the education was there. And the Tampa Music Conference was always, first and foremost, education.
Right.
Second, networking. But it was always about educating. And I think that came through very clear.
Do you think that's probably one of the biggest problems with conference right now? We don't educate enough? Or is it or is it the network? Or artists don't know how to take advantage of the network?
So I think that one of the biggest problems in general with anything you do is that people put the money before the purpose, right? Like the purpose is to make money, and if the purpose is to make money, it kind of loses. We wanted to educate,
right,
and made money as a result, right? So, I can't speak for any other conference, but I know without a doubt that we would have hundreds of people, all young artists with zero attention spans, sitting down. We purposely, I don't know if you remember this, but we would have a goodie bag. And the goodie bag always didn't have anything. It was a place for people to put their CDs in.
Right.
But I always put pen and notebook, even if it was just like a little one. It's for people to take notes. That was on purpose. That.
I do remember that.
There was no branding or anything. It was just like some kind of paper and some kind of pen for people to take notes. And it was amazing to look out in a field of people and hearing everybody quiet, writing notes. That's when I knew. I'd get goosebumps looking at that going, yes, we did it. What was disappointing to me after a while was when attendance would grow, when we had a well-known celebrity on the panel. When like at one point I had BMI, ASCAP, and Sound Exchange on one panel. Like all of them were there. And I'm like, how do you not take advantage of this? So
That's crazy. Because you know what? Because I think with artists, they don't realize they need to know that side of the business. I think for them, it's like, oh, we just get my music out, let me go record and put it out there, and hopefully it blow up. But not using radio the way it need to be using, the street team and stuff. But that's the behind the scenes music. I mean, I remember you had Aka Fool perform at one of your conferences before also.
Yes.
What were some of the other artists that you had perform there?
Oh my God, I can't even remember. I know.
Off the top of your head, because it has been a while.
Man, I remember that I always wanted to have. So part of the conference, one of the ugly things of the conference that I took part in that I didn't like, but it's the business, is that people can purchase a performance spot. But I always made sure that there was at least one curated one, someone that I personally thought people need to hear this artist. The Basics was one that I remember did a phenomenal job because they bought the whole band and they had, so The Basics was a good one that I remember. Who else? I mean, one particular conference, it was like the whole 813, like Tom G and Tony, right. And it's a bunch of them, they tore it down. And then here, one of the most recent ones, it was J-Rock with Fresh, and there's like a group, Henry, they kind of did their thing. I remember Fresh threw a bunch of confetti, and then I had to sweep that up at the end of the night. I was so mad. But yeah, it's too much. I can't even remember. I'd have to go back and look.
Yo, we chopping up right now with Angel here at Benton Media Lounge. Hey, keep it locked. Welcome to his house, not my house. His house. I'm just happy to be a visitor that lives here at the present moment and forever and ever. Benton Media Lounge. We're talking to Angel right now. We were just talking about the label, well, not the label, but your record store, your music conference. I want to tap in with the label.
Ben Records.
Yeah, Ben Records. What made you go that direction, and what artists did you have signed to your label?
So the record label was really funny, right? So after the music conference, after the record store, I was done with music. I didn't want to have any music-related friends. I was mad at it, right? But music is one of those toxic relationships. She never lets you go. She never music will text you at 2 a.m. saying, "What you doing?" Right? Music will put a thirst trap on her Instagram waiting for you to like it. You know what I mean?
Right.
She's just like that. Right? And as it would have it, I was done, and someone said, "Hey, why don't you bring back the music conference?" And I was like, "I don't want to do that." And they're like, "We'll help you." I was like, "I don't want to do that." Then someone else said, "You got to do the music conference." And these were people that were kind of influential, and I was like, "All right, fine, I'll do the music conference again." Things just fell into place, right? Finding the venue and all that fell into place. And then this someone was Jorge, owner of Symphonic Distribution. Shout out to Symphonic. And and he was like, "You should do a record label too." And I'm like, "I'm definitely not doing that." I had every excuse in the book to not want to do that, and every excuse he would knock down. He's like, "I'll help you. We'll get you distribution, whatnot." I'm like, so I was like, "All right, I guess we'll do that." And I called my very good friend C. Renee, and I said, "Hey C, you know what? I think I'm starting a record label." And if you know C, the first thing she does when she's excited is she screams in your ear at the highest possible decibel. So I had the phone away from my ear and waited, 3 to 4 minutes till she was done screaming. And when she was done, she was like, "Okay, so you're gonna only have artists that are gonna work. You're only gonna and they gotta practice and they gotta be good and they gotta dan. I was like, "See, I'm talking about you. I'm calling you so that you could." So she got to work, and we released our very first project.
Right.
And it's a beautiful body of work that I'm extremely proud of. It's timeless music. And slowly, I think the very next person was J-Rock. J-Rock, was always a fan, and just kind of, it was different. I like his groove a lot. And I'm like, "Listen, man, I got distribution." I said, "I can't promise you a whole lot, but we could put the music out and see what happens. And then the word kind of just started I was giving artists an opportunity to retain their independentship, but still get their music out there. Now you have to think this is a time where distribution wasn't like it is today. Like today, anybody like distribution's a dime a dozen now, right? It's not a flex anymore, right? But at that point, there was a barrier of entry. And I was able to remove that barrier from a lot of local independent artists. So the record label became more of a vehicle for distribution than an actual functioning record label, but it was still fun. And I was helping artists out that otherwise may not have had their music out there, so, H came through, Kuda B came through.
Ooh,
Yeah, Kuda B, we did a lot of work with her. She still comes through. Who else? Just Henry was in there. Lyrica, we did a single with her. We did a single with Volume. I think that was our very first single. He's not around anymore, music-wise. There's a bunch,
right?
But again, it wasn't a typical record label relationship where we had an opinion on the music itself or whatnot. We were mostly handling the clerical stuff, the back end stuff,
right.
Helping with the publishing administration, making sure that they collected their pennies and things like that. So that's how that got started, and it kind of just grew, to the point where at one point I was like, well, I have to take a second look at what we're doing here, because, before you know it, in a blink of an eye, we had like over 500 songs in our catalog, and like, we're not like this tiny little thing anymore. Like we have a catalog, so made the decision to separate ways from Symphonic. Nothing against Symphonic, I love those guys, great company, but I felt that it was the best decision for my artists at that point. Right? Because basically we were removing one layer of percentage. Right, because what they get at the point, what an artist makes is nothing. It's really sad how little money an artist makes, an independent artist, especially in this streaming world that we live in. So by removing one percentage out of that line, it increased the bottom line for everybody, and that was really the decision, right? That was really the reason why. So we went from being a record label to being a distribution platform. And we were able to offer distribution to not just independent artists, but also independent record labels. And that's kind of how all of that came to be. But, again, that toxic chick won't let you go. So now I'm in a position to where we can function better as a real record label, where we are able to, develop an artist.
Right.
That's kind of the direction we want to go in now.
There's a time step with everything that's going on, because you're completely right. You took a hiatus somewhere in between there. So the record store started in 2001.
Yeah.
The music conference was what year?
2004.
2004. Record label started when?
Record label was, it was 9 years ago now.
So
8 years ago.
This 25. So
yeah,
2014,
something
15,
like that.
something like that.
Give or take, yeah.
I can't do the math.
Yeah.
Never good at math, anyways. And then you took a pause.
The pause was before the record label.
Okay.
After the record store closed, we did the music conference for one more year, and then that was a wrap.
Okay.
So the record label came back with the music conference.
Gotcha.
That's kind of how it all. When the conference came back, we did a record label. That was all on with the influence and support of Symphonic.
Okay, and now you're here.
And now we're here.
Now, how did you get here? Because I'm listening to you talk, it's crazy. You had your record store, you had the conference, you have your label, and through all this beginning, you never had, or that I know of, your own studio.
No.
Until now.
Until now. We've always wanted one. And you know that thing you do, I don't know if anybody does this. I do this, like I get an idea in my head and it doesn't go away. It just doesn't go away. And I've had the thought of a recording studio for probably 7 years now. And this is where sticking to your dreams and like persistence pays off, right? Because at no point in those 7 years, I didn't have the money for a studio, or I didn't have a location, or I didn't bro, just like a record store, I didn't know anything about a studio. I don't know how to turn this stuff on, right? But I knew I wanted one.
Right.
And I drive around town and be like, maybe that'd be a good place. Like I'd see for sales or for lease signs or whatever, maybe that'd be a good place for a studio, whatever. But about 2 years ago, so my wife Carol used to manage Red Lounge on Sheldon, right? Mm-hmm. And that was a pretty successful studio. She took over when it was kind of in trouble and she brought it back to life, right? She was really good at that. And one of the engineers that worked with her there, Mando, was working here. This was a studio before we were here, but it was failing. And it didn't look anything like this. It was just not that cool. Shout out to Not Cool Studios.
Was that the name of the studio?
No.
I was about to say.
No, that was not. I think it was like maybe Trappish Studios or Money Laundrage Studios.
Okay. Then it was definitely a trap. A trap.
So.
At this point, it's past tense, so it don't even matter.
I don't care.
Exactly.
You get to a certain point in your life where you just don't care anymore.
And that's where you
and it's
right
such
now.
A great place to be.
Hey, relax free.
Yes. So Mando was engineering for them and saw that the studio wasn't doing well. He hits up Carol and said, like, hey, man, maybe you could come talk to these people and they'll let you manage it. Because she did good with Red Lounge, so why not? So she asked me if I'd come along with her, and I came. And I saw the wood room. And I'm like, wow, there's so much opportunity here. These people are not taking advantage of this place. I saw the vision. And I made them an offer, and they declined it. They just didn't even get back to us. They didn't decline it. They just didn't say anything. And a few months later, I was going through Facebook Marketplace looking for something I didn't even need. And there was a ad that said recording studio for sale, $20,000. And I'm like, the pictures had no equipment on it. I'm like, what are they selling? Like, what are they selling? Like, there was a couch, there's 2 couches. Like, what are they selling? So jumped in my car, drove here because I knew where it was. I recognized the picture of the wood room.
Right.
And I go to the leasing office. I'm like, hey, is Suite 1 available? And she's like, how do you know that? I'm like, I want it. She's like, okay, here's my money. And that's how we're here.
Damn.
Yeah, man, it was meant to be.
Damn.
It was meant to be. And then, we came in here, we built it out for a month, put a lot of love into it, and kind of opened our doors. And the city has just responded in such an incredible way, man. The support and the vibe that people get when they come here, it's definitely an extension of our brand and everything we've done over the last, 25 years or whatever it's been.
It's not even that, though, Angel. It's the reputation that you have built here in this city. And now, and everybody's always showed you love. Like, there's still OG DJs that still get down with you.
Yeah.
There's still artists that get down with you. And it's just the reputation that you have. Now that we're here, this is where I do my podcast. It was at Benton Media Lounge. What's the address?
5008 West Linebell Avenue, Suite 1.
Now, this is just one of the rooms that we use here. There's multiple rooms that you guys can use here. There's a recording studio. If you do a podcast, you can do this here. The reason that I want to take the time out to do this podcast with you is because I think people need to know the history where you started to where you're at right now. Mm-hmm. And you've always been humble about everything you did. I've never, ever seen you mad or complain about nada now, nada. So to keep that composure is crazy. And you've always, from what I've seen, have always funded this out of your own pocket.
Yeah. Yeah, this is 100%
There's never been a bank loan or...
I mean, there's bank loans.
Right.
But, that's like every business.
Okay.
Right? I mean, self-funded just means I'm 100% proprietor, right? There's nobody else. But I did take out a loan because this shit's not cheap.
Right.
But I'm managing it, and slowly every month is a little bit better than the previous month. December sucks, but that's normal. Every December sucks.
Holiday season.
Yeah, you know, but it's slowly getting better. And remember earlier I said, you know, if you put money first,
yes,
it doesn't.
Yes.
For me, it just doesn't work, right? It doesn't like a lot of people have become very rich because they've put money first, and that's okay for them. But just for me, it doesn't work. I just know that if you do what you love, the money will come.
Okay.
Right? I've just always believed that. And I mean, shit, man. Like at any given time, there'll be somebody in here making a song. There'll be somebody, you know, doing a podcast. There'll be somebody like taking pictures or whatever. It just sometimes people just like they did at the record store, where they would just come hang out. People come hang out, and they bring that vibe with them. And sometimes, you know, you do provide a service. You do provide a service, and you just never know when you, like, being able to service someone else is a blessing, right? Like that's something that not everybody has the opportunity to do. So be able to do it, that in itself is a huge reward. And all the financial stuff actually falls into place.
Right.
It does. I have no doubt that it. And if it doesn't, we'll close shop and do something else. Like, but we've been able to service people. There's a gentleman that one time, random during the day, week, in the middle of the day, you know, came in and you know, we don't have business hours. Like, it's appointments only, and he's, you know, ringing the doorbells. I'm like, can I help you? He's like, can I record? I'm like, nah, man. Like, we don't have an engineer right now. Like, it's like, I just need to record. Like, I just need to record. So I let him. He was going through something emotional. He was having a mental breakdown. I could tell at the moment he was having a really hard time. So I said, come in, man. I let him come in. Let him go in the booth. He put on his headphones. He took out his phone, got his lyrics. There was no beat in his ear. And he just spent however many time, it was close to an hour, just stand there rapping to no beat, rapping to nobody, rapping to himself. And when he came out, tears in his eyes, he gave me a hug, thanked me, and walked away. And I've never seen him. I don't know his name. I don't know anything else. I just know that at that moment, he needed that. And can you imagine having to do something so bad that, like, you feel like you might die if you don't do it?
Right.
And I have the capability of giving people that. That's a blessing.
Dope. So what's some of the things that you're doing right now with here at Benton Media Lounge?
So obviously we're recording. I'm all over the place, right?
Right.
So like one day I wake up and like, I want to do this. So one day I decided that when you come into the studio, there's a sign that says life is better when you sing, right? And I use that quote a lot. And I'm like, well, shit. Why does it have to be only professional singers? So I decided that we're going to offer singing, recording to anyone, whether they could sing or not.
Right.
Named it Studioke. Karaoke at the studio.
Okay.
And people come through, normal people, record covers of their favorite songs, and they leave with a professionally recorded sound. And it's fun. It's fun. It's just fun. 2 or 3 people come, they have their own drinks, and it's fun. So we're doing that. We are having the record label where we're working with a couple of artists that we're trying to develop. One of them being an AI artist, which I thought it was kind of cool. And, you know, one day I'm like, you know, we got these songs, and AI is the future. So we created Robin Life. Robin Life is on Instagram. Robin Life Official. Go follow her.
Did you just push an AI IG?
Yeah, no, it's a real IG. She's AI.
Oh.
She's AI, but it's a real IG. She's got more followers. She's got 600 followers. We're not lying to people. The description says, the bio says that she's a metal musician. Quoted that too, those metal musician.
You said it, I didn't.
Because AI artist just didn't hit right, but metal musician, that's dope. And
oh my goodness.
yeah, so you know, the bio says, and I, you know, everything, but she's got a new single out, New Year, New Me, and it's crazy how, like, we're just, you know, it's a dope song, and and one day it was just like, I just want to do this, so we did it. Sometimes we have songwriting sessions. People come, you know, we'll have a producer make a beat, people write songs. It's like little short songwriting camps. the producer listening parties once every 3 or 4 months, just kind of whenever I feel like it. Producers come play beats.
Right.
You know, it's a vibe. That's it, man. It just, I don't know, take pictures because I like photography.
Yeah, because you have another office that you do photography in. So
Yeah.
if you are a photographer, definitely swing by and
Yeah.
lock in a session, man.
Yeah.
It'll be worth it.
Yeah, so that's I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, tomorrow I might walk over to a new crazy idea and be like, I gotta do that.
So
I'm gonna tell you what I do want to do. I'm
go.
gonna tell you what I do want to do. This is crazy too. I want to start off. I'm gonna change my wording because words matter. Words are important. I'm going to start offering tourism services to artists. Picture this: you're a singer, a rapper, whatever, and you can go to Colombia or Buenos Aires, wherever, and you can record, do a photo shoot, maybe a video shoot, and a performance, and a little bit of tourism peppered in. All inclusive.
Okay.
Dope, right?
Yeah, for an artist, hell yeah.
All the content you can do and just being in another culture, getting new fans, collaborating with local artists in the area.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
Nah, man, I've been working on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I got my tourism license through the state, just kind of starting to, it's just time. But eventually I'm going to do that. Oh, wait. And we want to do a film, too. We want to do a documentary.
Pause. Hold that thought. We got to go to a quick break. We're going to come back on that. The documentary. Yes. Glad you mentioned that. When you say the documentary of what? Your music experience in Tampa? Can you give us a synopsis?
Okay, so this wasn't my idea, right?
All right.
Tango from Tampa Media came up with this one. And he says, we've been talking about doing projects for years. Like,
right.
We've been talking about, like, man, we should do a film. We should do this. Like, I've always wanted to do a film. So I'm going to do a film, naturally, because the idea doesn't leave my mind. And we were talking about doing a documentary about something else. And he's like, nah, that's not the story. He's like, you're the story. Like, Benton's the story. Like, the music conference, like, that's the story. And I'm like, nah, man, is there really a story there? He's like, I think there is. Like, I think there's a story to be told. I would like it to be more about not just the era. Like, I appreciate, it's very difficult to talk about yourself.
Yes.
Right?
I totally
it's
agree with that.
very difficult to be like, because you want to be humble, but at the same time, it's like, no, man, I did this work. Mm-hmm. Like, we've been there, right? So I was convinced that there's a story there to be told. And as I started kind of going through the pictures and going through, like, all the stuff that we had that we're putting together for the documentary, I'm like, maybe there is a story there. But the story is twofold, right? So I think there's all the people that have come through both the record store and the music conference, and where they're at and the impact that time frame had on their life and what they ended up doing with their life.
Right.
Because many years later, and this is where those seeds pay off, right? Like, I often say, I'm planting those seeds, Because many years later, people who I had a relationship with in the record store, 2001, 2, 3, 4, or 5, or whatever, have now come back and be like, yo, you don't understand what that conversation did for me, or how you helped me, or how, because at the moment you don't understand, you don't realize that you're experiencing a moment till after the moment has passed, right? Like, you could be in a moment and it's just normal for you, but years later you're like, oh man, I remember that was important. So I've had a lot of people tell me that throughout the years, like, that was important to me, that record store was important to me, that music conference was important to me. So I think that's an interesting story. But to me, even more interesting is how there's, like, this clear before and after.
Right.
Right? We've talked about all of the stuff that's happened, and there's a whole new generation of people, artists, local artists, musicians, producers, whatever, creators, that are impacted now, that have absolutely no idea of what happened before. To them, this is all new.
Right.
But their experiences are very similar to the experiences you guys had. You know, and I
can see that.
I think that contrast is very, very interesting. So, again, I don't know where it's going to end. I have an idea of where I think I would like for it to go.
Right.
But it's probably going to end up going where it's supposed to go, and that's okay.
Well, the thing is, your outreach is from radio to artists to national known artists, behind the scenes, the Tampa music scene itself as a whole, from 2001 to where it is right now, which is 2025.
Yeah.
So you got to keep that concept in mind. Man, we can talk forever, ever, but like I said, I wanted to bring you on because I think people need to know about BMLF. You know what I'm saying? It needs to be about Benton Media Lounge. If you're in Tampa, this is where you want to record, do your photography, do your podcast. I don't mind sharing my space. I don't. But if you guys want to get down, man, this is where you want to be. This is the owner. This is him. This is him, and I will be forever grateful.
Nah, man. Thank you,
Thank
Buck.
you so much. Now, before you get up out of here,
yes,
just like my career, your career, what was your high moment and what's your low moment? Let's go with your low moment.
My low moment, I think that my low moment was closing the record store. Closing the record store, realizing that it was very dark. I didn't know what to do next. I didn't know where I fit in the community, because all this stuff that's happened later,
right,
at the moment, I didn't realize that we had been an impact on people, right? So I didn't know. I lost my identity and didn't know what to do. It was, it kind of sucked.
And what's your high moment?
Oof. There's been a bunch of high moments, but I think the best moment was the very first Tampa Music Conference, because I think I was expecting like 100 people. Like if 100 people showed up,
right,
I would have been so happy. And we got well over 300 people. And we did an after party at I can't even remember the club. It's the club with the spinning floor. Amphitheater. We had an after party in amphitheater, and I remember I sat upstairs in that little VIP section the whole time with a beer that I did not finish, just feeling so overwhelmed, looking at all the people that were there. Some dude came from Germany, and I was like, whoa. It was very surreal. I've never reached that high before since. Like, it was just, whoa. Like, people came. A lot of people came with, like, very little. Like, there was no advertising. I don't know how it happened. It was very just organic.
And that's the best thing. It's the organic of everything.
Yeah.
You have an artist that you're working with right now. What was her name?
Ava Portman.
Just, we're going to end off on that. Like I said, he does his record label also. Watch out for Ava. Hopefully, I might be talking to her on my show. Buck with me, with Angel. Love you guys. We're out.